Good morning, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And
Yep.
today we're here with Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada. She is in the house. And we are always excited when Coach is here because she helps us to figure out what's really going on in our mindset regarding our money. So, Coach, we're just so excited to get this party started. We're here every Wednesday with Profits in Daily with Coach Caren Fern. Karen's run a number of successful businesses. So, feel free to put your questions in the chat and we're going to get started with the discussion. And today, what are we talking about?
Today we're talking about the study of wealth. And we study all sorts of things, but this is a good thing to study. But I'm going to go back a little bit. All this month, May, I did three, we talked about cash flow movements. We talked about cash flow versus profits. We talked about routine and knowing that routine is good news. And so all the things we talk about is when you routinely do them, you see results. Now, nothing beats routine, which, we talk about consistency and focus. Nothing beats routine. It feels like the boring and the humdrum. And I want to tell you guys something too. A lot of people build wealth of the most boring stuff you ever know to man. It's just facts. And sometimes people don't even realize how people build their wealth because you're only seeing them now interviewing people. You're seeing them now talking about stuff, but they have built up their money a long time ago, right? And if you're in that genre, and even if you didn't know initially, eventually you're gonna start wanting to know more. And anybody who will tell you, you got to read a lot. Everybody learn differently, but reading is just one of those things that is so fundamental. And I was listening to this guy talk the other day, and I said, that's how I am too. I will get a book and I'll read the whole book quickly. I will just devour it. And then I'll go back and read the book and I might say to myself, I'll take some notes, but I'll just mark a few things. Then I'll read that book a third time with my notepad and I'm taking notes and I'm paying attention to what the author is saying. Every author tells you a lot of stories within the story. And he is giving or she your life experiences in things that matter to them or matter to people that they know. And that's why reading is so important. That's the first reason. The second reason, it inspires you and opens up a channel in you at times either that was lost or you've never visited. That's the other part it does. And it allows you, when you talk to people in different genres, to expose them to things that they might not have known. And it doesn't have to be a full-fledged story. It could just be with a sentence that you might remember from the book you've read or something you've heard. And that's why these things are so important. And today we're talking about study of wealth. And if you're going to study wealth, you're going to need to read, listen, and implement. That's what you're doing when you're studying. And so when I tell people this, especially if you're broke and you have no money and you're in a bunch of debt, you'll say to me, Karen, why the hell would I want to do that? And I promise you, when you're in the place where you're starving for something, that's the time to learn everything that you need to learn. That's not a time to run. What you do in that time is you're staying poor, you're living in a poverty mindset without understanding you are, because you're scrambling to pay off debt. That's your focus. I start telling my clients, I said, if you're in a jam and you got to pay off debts, we're going to tackle that. But what I first want you to do is understand and learn, again, with the, routine as good news. I want you to really pay attention of how you're going to invest. I don't care how small and what it is. How you're going to save money. And then how you're going to pay off debt. Karen, but that's going to be a lot of interest. Yes, you're going to pay off debt. Well, what am I doing that for? Because I want to remove your focus on paying off debt. When your focus is paying off debt, when you finish paying off the debt, this is what most people do. Not everybody. Thank God all that debt is gone. Oh, I could breathe now. And what they do is breathe month after month after month until they're back in debt again. Because they haven't spent time doing the boring, mundane stuff, saving, investing, getting themselves to this new place. And that's why this is a big study. We don't have the time in half an hour here to cover it all, but we're going to talk about a few things.
Okay.
We're going to talk about why you should study wealth. which is, what I just covered there in a nutshell. And another question I have for you, do you know the four types of wealth? No, there's tons of different types, but we're going to talk about these four big ones for me. I think they're big. We talk about financial, social, physical, and time wealth. These are the
Mhm.
simple wealth that you can attain easily and think about and start implementing immediately. And what to know about building wealth. Really, guys, everything is the mindset shift. It's that mindset shift. It's that understanding. When you see somebody weeding, somebody mowing somebody's lawn or taking care of the lawn, and you look at them, what do you think? If you think that they're just mowing lawn or in the hot sun, how are they going to manage? That's all you're focusing on. If you see them at this guy might be starting to build an empire, you start looking at the individual differently. It's like the person who clean up in the mall or the person who is a janitor somewhere.
Uh,
Don't underestimate where their goals are and what they're planning to do. Because if that person mindset is about building wealth, this is just their stepping stone. When I first came to Canada, one of the things I was in a mall, one of the popular mall here, Scarborough Town Center, and I was so desperate for a job. I really wanted to do cleaning. I wanted to clean in the mall, do what the people were doing in the mall, because I thought I'll get to be in the mall, I'll get to meet people, and this would really be a great powerhouse job. And I start talking to an older lady, and she said to me, she says, "Why you want this job?" I was asking her how she get it and what have you. She says, "What's your plans?" And I said, "Well, I want to go to school, but if I get this job," I figure, she goes, "Caren," she asked me my name, so I introduced myself. She says, "Caren, if you're going to take this job and that's your plan, that's the only way I'll help you get this job. But if you're taking this job and you don't have a plan, I won't help you get this job." So I went there a couple more times and I see her and talk with her and whatever. And she was Christian. I didn't know that initially, but she said to me, "I want to help you get this job because it will keep you here. There's a couple of young people that has taken this job and they get comfortable. The money's not bad. And they get used to the idea of just coming in.
uh,
Getting, you need something different." And I was really upset with her. Let me just sit here and tell you, because I didn't have a job. So I was, I was never this person that was without money because I was working for myself. And I come to a new country and I couldn't just jump in working for myself. So a job was the next logical thing to do. And I spent a lot of time looking and applying for jobs. And the main theme was, this is not a job for you. You need to find something else. Why am I telling you this? Because, excuse me,
mhm.
Petra, I'm on the air. I'll call you back. Bye. Sorry, guys.
No problem. I have that situation. We all do. That's what happens when you're live.
And a number of people will not give me jobs that I really truly want.
Hmm.
And what God was allowing me to, what I think God was putting people in my path to move me away from things that wasn't for me. I was
Uh,
upset at the time. I was really mad about it at the time because I
yes.
was like, I need a job. And this is why I could really sit and tell people, do not take any job.
Uh-huh.
Take the job, pray, and understand what you need before you go into the job. This
Mm,
is so important, especially if you're now starting or you're starting over. The two reasons. If you're now starting out, pay attention to the job you get. If you are re entering the workforce, again, know what you want, pray about it, write about 6 to 12 steps of why this job will get you to the next part of your life and where you're going before you accept the job. It is important because once you're in the job and you're making money, it's paying the same debt that I tell you I leave until the fourth part. It that's all you're in this bundle of that, and it's hard to climb up because you have voluntarily went into this pile of things that you didn't question if you should go into. And so because God and I was fresh and new, he was allowing his angels to just pop in and tell me I wanted a babysitting living job, and I gotta know. And the lady literally said to me, she says, "I'm gonna get my husband to get you a job in tech." At the time I couldn't qualify for it, and I got sabotaged along the way, but the point was he put these people in place to take me away. And when he was ready for me to get the job that he knew was going to encourage me to keep growing, that's when I got a job. At the time, I didn't know this though. At the time, I didn't understand it. And I was very annoyed. I say this so you can understand that I understand when you're in a bind and you want a job and you say, well, Karen, why are you telling me this? It's because also have experienced it. Yes, I had shelter, but it was very harsh where I was. And even in that midst, he was teaching me some things that I needed to learn that I didn't know at the time. This is important that I'm talking to you about because it helps you understand how you build, where you need to be, what you need to do. And the first thing you have to figure out is study the darn subject. Study wealth.
Crack the book.
Mhm. Get in
Hmm.
there. Understand it. Understand what it would take of you, what it'll ask of you, what you'll have to give to get there. So when somebody say I don't want something, I don't argue with them or force them anymore because they're telling me I don't want to do the work to get it. I
Hmm.
don't want to get in there and get down and dirty. So that's why I don't want it. I don't want to do it. And those
Uh-huh.
people, you leave them alone because that's not what they want to do. Now, if they're family and they want something from you, you're gonna have to remind them that you're willing to do the work so they can get the benefit of that work that you do because they have the time to do the same work. So let's get to number two, right? Before I
Hmm.
go forward, let's get to number two. Let's talk about the four types of wealth because sometimes we only see wealth financially. So I want to tap into these. I'm not going to go in depth with them. As I said, this is a big subject.
Yes, it is.
We're just brushing, we're just taking a feather and lightly grazing the top of this subject. Okay, guys. Financial. That's the first thing that comes to mind when we think about building wealth because it's at the forefront.
Hmm.
And it's true and nothing's wrong with it. And that's how we say or do or identify people that's wealthy. But there's also these other three that is so important. Social wealth. And we know
Hmm.
this now from social media, but it's always been there, guys. Social wealth has always been there. We just didn't have any name to it. We didn't notice it. We weren't paying attention because social media wasn't big and wide, but it's always been there. Just want you guys to know this, okay? Physical wealth. That's your health. That's your health. You're healthy. Years ago we used to hear, all these old men or women have a lot of money, but they have no health
Yes.
with
Hmm.
them. So that's a biggie in the wealth gaining. So while you're building your wealth, you want to be working out. And when anybody say to me, I don't like workout, I'm like, okay, I don't care. Suck it up. Get out there. And I don't care if you walk for 50 minutes, go do something. My mom went to the heart specialist a couple months ago, and this little tiny girl, and she's a big woman, but she's talking about it. She says, I want all doctors to tell their patients to get up and walk 50 minutes a day. I don't care if you divide it up in 555, but I want them to tell their patients to get up and walk. Not because I don't want patients, but I don't want to see so many people coming to me when I wanted to be the proactive person. She wanted the regular physicians to send their patients to her to check in and see the health of their heart before there's a heart problem. And she's fighting for that. I thought, what a joy to have a doctor. This is her cause, fighting for people to come and see her like a regular physician, once a year, twice a year, depending on the age of the patient, to come check the heart and make sure it's healthy. Catch it before something really happens. See what's going on. Do the tests that is necessary to be done to say stays on track, right? So this is important, guys. That's the physical part. And time wealth. Can you imagine? You have got all this financial wealth and you have no time to enjoy all the stuff has happened, right? You have no time. My dad had given me this story once. He says, I had a friend that lived in England and he wanted to be a lawyer terribly. And he told my dad, he says, I don't care if I die after I become a lawyer, but I want to be a lawyer. And my dad said he would say to him, study hard, do all you got to do, but don't forget to spend time with your children and your wife. If you neglect those two important aspects of your life, you really won't get to enjoy it as much as you think you would. Because who's going to celebrate it with you? Who's going to be happy for you? And I tell you, it didn't matter how your classmates or anybody's happy for you when the people that you love is not in that celebration circle. You're going to show face, yes, but once you're on your own, you will feel sad inside and you can't get back the time. And he said, he would have many discussions with him. And he would a lot of times hang up on my dad saying, This is not what I call you for. you know, they were police officers together, and I guess he would want a different answer for my dad. My dad says,
Sure.
Karen,
We want to hear what we want to hear, right?
here, yeah. My dad says, he started late in university. I think he was in his 40s. So by the time he was finished, he was 49. By the time he got accepted in a law office, yeah, touching 50. And my dad said, Karen, I think the day of or 2 weeks later, he died.
Mm.
Never get to live into that. Never get to enjoy all the hard work he did. And one of the big things his wife and kids keep talking about was all we wanted him was to do spend some time with us. We wish he had seen this. We wish he was able to attend that. And I know it's difficult, guys. I want to sit here and tell you, going to college, going to university, doing whatever you're doing and having a family, it's one of the hardest things. It's not the hardest because we know there's a lot of hard things to do in life, but it's one of the hardest things to do to balance. I did it with 2 children. It is not an easy task. And I know women handle it a little better, but it's not an easy task to go to school and have little ones that need your time. But you have to figure out how you're going to accomplish these things together when you start doing it. I know for me, I'm going to get a little tasty. For me, I took my program crazy to most people. I took it instead of spending the amount of time, I shortened it by going right through the summers. And so instead of wondering while doing my children in the summer, I took my children to college with me. They went the college years. I explained to my professor what's going to happen. And they went a lot of days with me. And I got to tell you, when you give people a chance to help you, they will help you. My classmates, the office staff, my professors, there's time they'll say, Karen, you just go get a lunch. Let the little ones come with me. And they would be walking and be all over the grounds with my professors. If you ask.
And they were worn out by the time you got them home with you after the study.
Yes. Because most
All
professors
that fresh air.
because I know I had myself on a list for daycare for the kids and I couldn't get it. My babysitter wasn't feeling well at the time, and we weren't sure what I was going to do. And I wasn't about to not attend classes. Guys, we didn't have Zoom and those things, or if it exists, I didn't know about it. This is in the 90s. And so
There was no Zoom. There was
and guys, when you're studying wealth, you need to study all around, not only the people who have the money now, but also those people who what they went through to get the money they have, and the sacrifices they made, and the question they were willing to ask, and the people that were willing to talk to. Because I know when I said this to my daughter only the other, she says, Mom, this is not your time. You don't understand how people are. And I always say to her, it's not true. You have to ask. And then if that person don't give you the answer you want, you ask somebody else. And then you ask somebody else. And you don't stop asking. I said, this was not, you talk about it, but this didn't just come about. Once I knew it was happening, I went to my supervisor in the office. I went to her supervisor. I went to my counselor. I went to the librarian. This was well known way before it got into action. And then I started talking to my professors. And everybody come together as a unity. My coordinator for the program. And he said, Karen, just drop them off at my secretary. And everybody would say to me, don't talk to those people. They don't have time for you. They do. But you, as the individual, have to approach them and tell them what your needs are. They want you to succeed, but they're not going to come looking for you to help you succeed. You got to go looking for them. And same with wealth building. If you're going to build wealth, if you're going to study this subject, you got to go after it. Nobody's coming and drop it in your lap and give it to you. You got to get out there. You got to ask. You got to read. You got to listen. And now it's easier, yes. But to get the good stuff, you're still going to have to ask. If not, you're going to end up with the ones that feels easy and quick. And that quickness that you so seek robs you of learning the true foundational things. It robs you of getting to the nitty-gritty. So you get to understand what is needed. I know Terry's got the lawnmower guys. If you guys see her not talking, probably that's what happened, or she's just frozen a bit. Yeah, I think that's what happened. So she went away. She'll come right back though. Number three, I talked about what to know about building wealth. What do you know? Or what do you want to know? The first thing that you want to know is how to think about it. It's a mindset thing. It starts in the mind before you physically hold a dollar. And if you're holding a dollar right now, and as an adult, what do you do with the dollar? I want you to decide what to do with the dollar. Because when you understand what to do with the dollar, you can do that with $10, $100, $10,000, $100,000. But you first have to know what to do with the dollar. Oh, there you
Mm. I'm sorry, my computer decided it wanted to just restart itself.
go. Girl,
I'm
what can
like,
we do? I figured something. I figured something.
it tells me this is an important conversation
Yeah,
because, yeah.
we know what happens when that happens. You know,
Mm,
we
have
know.
you have you ever?
Yeah, we know, we
I'm like, really?
know. Yeah. So I
Oh,
was talking about the mindset. It really is,
yes.
it's a mind shift. We have to position ourselves. And I like to give people the heads up. I said, every once you set intention, then
Mhm.
interruptions happen. That's a must. Once you set intentions, we prepare for everything to crumble. Or it feels like it's crumbling because it's not necessarily crumbling, it just feels that way. It feels like you
Mhm.
can't get
Oh,
a
okay.
leg ahead. It feels like you
This
can't
is
go
good to
forward.
know to get our minds ready.
Hmm. You have to get that mind ready and you have to
Yes.
physically do. This is the other part about the physical part. You got to physically
Okay.
do. When you're getting your mind ready, you need a lot of walks. Go walk a lot and just allow things to flow and then walk with intention to come back and write whatever is flowing. Don't worry about what you're going to be writing. It's going to be messy. Just get it on paper. Just get let it flow out of you and then let the good stuff flow into you and then keep writing. You will surprise yourself with this exercise, how you start changing, how you start seeing things differently. Everything that was feeling like the worst thing that can happen to you, you'll find good in it. Even if it's one good in that nasty or miserable thing that has happened to you, you'll find some good in it. Get in there and just pick up that one good thing and go with it. What was the good thing? I wanted to get up at 5 this morning, but I got up at 6. Hey, I'm an hour away from getting up at 5. That's the good thing that you found in. Don't let the 6 harp on you and you. I wish I got up at 5. I mean, I lost a whole hour. What am I going to do that I didn't get that? No, do not waste the time. Just take the time
Mm.
that you have. And whatever you were set up for that day, you get to it. And if you didn't, at the end of that day, prep for the other day and the other days that's coming. And
Mhm.
if your list is big and wide, guys, just go down the list and get it done. When I show people my schedule, they go a lot of times, that is crazy. That's a lot of things on the schedule. The truth of the matter is there's not a lot of things on the schedule. There are things on the schedule that needs to be done. And some days all is not going to get done. And that's okay. But it's there and the intention is there. One of the
Mhm.
things I love to put everything on my schedule. I do not move from that. Study, work, and home is on the schedule because they're part of me. If I leave out home or I leave out study, I am fooling myself thinking that all I'm doing is getting to work. I put everything out there and I know what I can handle. I know when to take my breaks. I know what I need and I get it done. I also understand that the schedule is huge, but there's things that's going to fall off. If I'm writing a book, I'm writing the book. So it's
Uh-huh.
on the schedule that I'm writing the book, right? And so I'm writing the book. And when I'm done writing the book, now it's going to go to the next section where it's getting edited. Then it's getting formatted. So those are going to fall off. It's not going to stay there forever. Building wealth is building it in all areas. We're now, because the internet tells us all people that people are doing, but most people have been doing this forever. You want to build intellectual properties, you want to got the money invested. So all these different areas. You're writing a book. Once it's out there, don't worry about the sales too much. Not because you mustn't sell the book, guys. This is not what I'm saying. But you're doing it because then it's done. If you had said, this year I want to write one book, write the book. And then plan to edit the book, which means you're going to take a portion of your time and look for editors, if
Mhm.
that's the route you're going. Then you find the editor and you get them to edit your book. Okay? The next step is how you're going to sell the book. I know people say sell the book in advance, but if you're not seasoned, this is hard on your brain.
Mhm.
because you're still doing what you're doing. And we're talking about building wealth. When I first sit down and decide what I'm going to do, I wanted to have something that I can be hands off with, that I can have employees, something that I can do that I love, and something I can do. And for generations after I've gone off this earth, it'll still be paying the people I love and their people, and their people. That was my intention, and a couple other things. And so when I start studying about wealth and looking at wealth and looking at what people do, it is never this neat, tidy rope. And it's never this, oh, I'm going to do this one thing. It always starts off, I'm going to do this one thing, but then it leads into these branches. That's how trees grow, right? Everything's these
Mm-hmm.
branches off, right? And we do that stuff. So go study it. Go and find out. And don't worry about the hurry up wealth. I made $1 million in 7 months. I made $1 billion within this year. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Just stay where you are. Read, find out, understand what you want to do, and don't go tell anybody either. You want to make $1 million, just write it down. Decide in a year or 3 years. 3 years look better to you, write it. I want to be a millionaire in 3 years. Then write what it's going to make of you. Why you want to get it, your mission, right? What are you doing this for? And then the job that you're doing, the business that you're doing is towards this goal. Along the way, things will change up, yes, but you got this goal post that you're going towards. People are going to come at you and say, well, $1 million is nothing big anymore. But those same people don't have $1 million. So you're not going to
They
listen to
don't. They do not. Don't you love that? I just, it's just amazing to me.
them. They sneeze, they got nothing to their name, but they're telling you why you shouldn't have it.
Also, have you noticed that people who um, are not making six figures will tell you in a minute, you can't find a job that makes six
Mhm.
figures.
Yeah.
You can't find a business that makes six figures.
Yep.
No, you can't.
Exactly. Exactly. But I can.
And I
I can.
don't, yeah, so you got to guard your mind not to
Yeah.
receive that
Yeah.
stuff.
You have to. I was telling my daughter yesterday about a job situation because she's in between jobs right now, and I was talking to her about a situation with jobs. And I say to her, when you want this job, if everything is showing you that you can't get a job, you need to I tell you guys, I should pray about it. But number two, you need to figure out if you truly want this job, and then you need to focus on getting this job. This is how it
Mhm.
works. If not, you're not gonna get this job. And if the job is not for you for whatever reason, you're also not going to get the job
And
because
you need to be
maybe,
grateful.
yes, that you didn't get the job. And I mean, I know some things that, but she's not ready yet to hear. So I have to let her go through that processes to get her there, wherever that is for her right now. So I have to leave it alone. Because again, also when you're a parent and you're showing your kids stuff because you're in it, sometimes they don't take your heed on it. You know,
They
some
can't
kids,
receive it from
yeah,
us.
yeah, they just,
I am amazed at how they can come back
mhm.
years later and say, well, so and so told me that. And you're like, did you not hear me 10 years ago when I said this to you? But
they,
I
they,
guess,
they, they can't hear it. My son has a friend, and he used to always say, Moms, you should have been my mother. I keep telling my friend, you should have been my mother. Because he always come gain ideas and go and run with it, right? So
mhm.
that's how life works. But this is a good subject to really study, guys. Study wealth. I give you the reason why you should study it financially, socially, physically. And the time is one of the big ones. It's really one of the big ones. That time is so big. I used to tell my kids, I said, when you're 18, 19, it's fine. But you see, when you hit 21 and you haven't figured out some things, it's a sliding scale and it doesn't feel that way. But it's a sliding scale. If you start at 21, you can literally retire at 45. Earlier, if you're doing other things. But let's say it was
Mhm.
just job, you could literally retire at 45. And I would give them reasons why and stuff. And I said, it's not because you want to retire, but you could if you want to. And it's good to have choices.
Yes, it is.
It's really good to have choices. You get to leave a job because it mightn't work for you and move to another job. You have these other things that you can do and not feel locked in. And this is why. This is what money helps you do. Helps you to be able to do things that if you were struggling, you just couldn't do. And you wouldn't have the time, because this is the other thing with money. You might have the money, but you don't have the time, or have the time, but have no money. But when you understand how wealth is built and where you're working towards, you'll be able to combine both of them together and be really
Mhm.
happy about it.
There you go.
So I hope you
Yeah.
learned a few things today. I hope you go study the subject. It's a good subject to study.
You know, Coach, it is just always a joy to have you here
Thank you.
because we always learn something, and you always leave us with something to reflect on. Um, I, and we have talked about these things from time to time, but we need to be reminded.
Yes, yes,
We
yes.
need to be reminded, and we need to think about them in regard to other people. Like
Hmm.
when you mentioned, your daughter, and I can remember telling my daughters, a girl's got to have options. You
Yeah,
need some choice. You need
yeah,
to put yourself in a position where you have choices.
yes,
Yes,
yeah.
and I think learning as we learn more about wealth, as we study it,
Mhm.
we realize we do have choices.
Yes,
We're making them every day, and
yes,
they're affecting our tomorrows.
yes. Oh, well said.
So with that, I want you guys to know that you can find Coach Caren everywhere at CarenFern.com. No, but here is the link here for her um, coaching schedule if you want to get
Mhm.
on her schedule so that you can talk through some things. Also, she's offering this course,
Yes.
a self-directed course. So I'm going to put these things in the chat so
Mhm.
that you guys can connect with Coach Caren.
Yes.
As we speak, I am pacing this, Coach.
Okay. And as Terry paced that, I'll tell you guys there's something coming up where I am working on a project where people can just do a quick call with me to answer questions. Also, I'm working on getting it monthly where I do twice a month. I get in there and answer people questions and get them going so that they're not waiting forever to get an answer, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
their price point right now they can't afford full coaching. This won't be full coaching, but it will be answering questions that I know sometimes I heard from a few people that they feel stuck and don't know how to move forward. So I thought it was a good thing to bring together. So I'm working on that. Look out for that in a couple of months, guys. Yeah. I'll let the BizChicks know when that's ready.
Thank you, Coach. I want to remind everybody you can find Coach Caren at Profits in Daily
Mhm.
on Facebook and on Instagram. Also, obviously, she's on YouTube here in the Biz Chicks channel,
Yes.
and you can direct message her through those social media outlets. In addition to that, we want to remind you that it's okay to go to the front of your own line.
Yes.
So if you're looking for help with your digital life, you may want to contact us here at bizchicks.net because we're here to help take the hassle out of your hustle. Also, you can join our community
Hmm.
by going to bizchicks.net, or you can text biz to 33777. We'd love to
Yes.
have you and love to help you share what it is you do to help and serve. So, with that, we want to remind you it's okay, right, Coach, to make money in
Make
your
money in business.
business. So, go to the front of your own line. Have a
Yes.
great day. Thank you again, Coach, for all
You're
you do.
welcome.
We really, truly appreciate it. Have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.